with ChatGPT. 20 questions with ChatGPT. What's the topic? Let me see it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of 20 Questions with ChatGPT, and the third time we've done this format. If you're confused, just check out the video description. While you're there, please like, subscribe, and share. As the program name suggests, my guest for the next 20 questions is ChatGPT. Welcome.
Once again, it's an honor to be here, Taryn.
Tonight's topic is one that's near and dear to my heart. Dogs. Walking my dog Ellie, I've had plenty of questions about dogs. Enough, I thought, to justify an episode.
And here we are.
Yes. Now, just where are you this time, ChatGPT? That looks like a lot of activity behind you.
According to the prompt you used to generate the original image, I'm in a modern suburban living room
With
a dozen puppies of various breeds.
Well, if our viewers get bored with the Q&A, they can always watch the puppies.
Oh, I hope they don't get bored.
I mean, they shouldn't, of course. We are talking about dogs. They're pretty awesome.
While that is not the most cogent argument, I agree that dogs are indeed awesome. Shall we begin?
We shall. It's often said that dogs are colorblind. Are they?
It's a common myth that dogs are totally colorblind, but that's not quite true. They actually see the world in a limited color spectrum, kind of like what a red-green colorblind human would see. So blues and yellows stand out for them, while reds and greens likely appear as shades of gray or brown. That's why blue toys are easier for dogs to find in the grass than red ones. Their vision is more about contrast and motion, which suits their evolutionary background as hunters and companions much more than full-spectrum color vision.
Many people and businesses leave dog water bowls outside for thirsty neighborhood dogs. I always discourage our dog Ellie from drinking from those bowls because I worry about her catching diseases. Is that a serious concern? Should people not leave water dishes out for dogs?
It's thoughtful to worry about Ellie drinking from public water bowls. Those can definitely carry some risks. Shared bowls, especially in high-traffic areas, can be a breeding ground for bacteria, parasites like Giardia, or even viruses like parvovirus in extreme cases. Healthy dogs with good immune systems might be fine, but if your dog is older, immunocompromised, or just unlucky, they could pick something up. It's not that no one should leave bowls out, it's a kind gesture, but ideally they should be cleaned regularly. If you're concerned, bringing your own collapsible water bowl is a great alternative.
Do dogs get depressed or anxious the same way humans do? Or are there fundamental differences?
Dogs do get depressed or anxious, and many of the signs mirror those in humans. Lethargy, appetite changes, withdrawal, or restlessness. That said, their emotional experience isn't as layered or self-reflective. Anxiety in dogs often stems from clear causes, like separation, trauma, or changes in their environment. Depression can occur after losing a companion or experiencing a major life disruption. Unlike humans, though, dogs tend to live more in the moment, so with structure and care, they usually bounce back. Still, it's very real to them in the moment, and something owners should take seriously.
I've heard there are professional dog psychologists. How does that work?
Yes, dog psychologists are a real thing, and their work combines behavior science and emotional care. Some are veterinarians with a focus on behavior, while others are certified behaviorists or trainers with psychology backgrounds. They observe a dog's environment, routine, interactions, and emotional responses to pinpoint the root of issues like aggression, phobias, or compulsive behaviors. Treatment often involves behavior modification plans, enrichment strategies, and sometimes medication. It's not just about obedience. It's about understanding the emotional state of the dog and helping both the pet and the owner find a healthier dynamic.
Do dogs have a sense of fairness or jealousy when it comes to attention or treats?
Dogs absolutely show behaviors that look like jealousy and even a basic sense of fairness. If you pet another dog or give one a treat in front of the other, you may notice attention-seeking, sulking, or even aggression. Studies have shown that dogs can react negatively when they see another dog getting a reward for doing nothing, or getting a better reward for the same behavior. While it's not as complex as human fairness, it does point to a social sensitivity. They're aware of where the attention and goodies are going, and they do care.
When my dog looks sad, is she really sad or is she trying to manipulate me?
When your dog looks sad, it could be genuine emotion, or it could be a learned behavior. Dogs are incredibly tuned into our responses, and over time, they realize that certain looks or postures get attention or treats. So if Ellie gives you big eyes and a droopy face and you cuddle her every time, she's probably figured out that it works. But dogs do feel sadness too, especially in moments of loss or boredom. So it's not always manipulation. Sometimes it's real emotion, and sometimes it's just very effective emotional marketing.
What are the top 5 things that are likely to bring dogs joy?
Dogs find joy in a lot of the same things we do: connection, play, food, and new experiences. If I had to narrow it to 5, I'd say 1. Being with their favorite humans, especially during calm bonding time. 2. Walks, especially in new places with new smells. 3. Engaging play, fetch, tug, or roughhousing. 4. Tasty treats or puzzle feeders that engage their brains. 5. Socializing with other friendly dogs. Of course, different dogs have different preferences, but joy tends to come from sensory engagement, routine, and feeling safe and loved.
When I walk my dog Ellie, much of her time is spent smelling the urine left by other dogs in the neighborhood. What if a dog grows up in a rural area where there are no other dogs? What do isolated dogs do?
Dogs get a ton of information from sniffing where other dogs have peed, who was there, their sex, age, even their emotional or hormonal state. If a dog grows up in a rural area with few or no other dogs around, they'll still sniff everything else: wild animal scents, human trails, and natural smells. Sniffing is about cataloging their environment, not just social interaction. An isolated dog might not get as much social input from other dogs female, but they're still stimulated by the natural world around them. They just read a different kind of newspaper, so to speak.
When dogs pee, does the urine reflect their current emotional state?
Yes, a dog's pee can absolutely reflect their emotional or social state. Marking is often driven by stress, excitement, or a need to assert territory. For example, a dog that suddenly starts marking indoors may be feeling anxious, insecure, or even threatened by new people or pets. The urine itself contains pheromones that signal things like reproductive status or emotional arousal to other dogs. So when Ellie stops to smell a tree for 2 straight minutes, she's picking up a full emotional profile of who's been there, what mood they were in, and when they passed by.
What percentage of households in the United States have 1 or more dogs?
As of the most recent data, about 45% of U.S. households have at least 1 dog. That's over 65 million dogs living in homes across the country. Dogs are by far the most popular pet in the U.S., slightly edging out cats in terms of households. The average dog-owning household actually has 1.6 dogs, meaning lots of families have more than 1. And during the pandemic, those numbers surged as people adopted in droves, though some shelters are now feeling the strain from returns and rising costs.
Generally speaking, what breeds of dogs have the longest lives and the shortest?
In general, small dogs tend to live longer than large dogs. Breeds like Chihuahuas, toy poodles, and dachshunds can often live 15 to 20 years with good care. On the flip side, Great Danes, Mastiffs, and Bernese Mountain Dogs often only live 6 to 9 years. The reasons aren't fully understood, but larger dogs seem to age faster at the cellular level. That's why large breeds hit senior status around age 6, while small dogs don't reach that stage until closer to 10 or 11. Genetics, diet, and lifestyle also play huge roles in lifespan.
What percentage of dogs that go to new homes come from rescue shelters?
Around 40 to 45% of dogs adopted into new homes in the U.S. come from rescue shelters or animal welfare organizations. That number has been climbing thanks to public awareness, social media, and the push toward adopting rather than buying. The rest are a mix of dogs from breeders, pet stores, accidental litters, or transfers from friends and family. While shelter adoption rates are encouraging, many shelters still struggle with overcrowding, especially in under-resourced areas where spay/neuter access is limited.
My dog likes some dogs but hates others. What gives?
Dogs definitely have preferences when it comes to other dogs, and a lot of it comes down to body language, scent, and past experiences. Just like people, they may be drawn to some personalities and turned off by others. Maybe a dog reminds them of a bad past encounter, or maybe the other dog's energy feels threatening or chaotic. Age, sex, breed, and even leash tension can all play a role. Socialization helps, but you can't force chemistry. Sometimes "I don't like that guy" is as valid for dogs as it is for humans.
I've noticed our dog Ellie seems more protective of my wife than me. Why do some dogs seem to protect one person in a household but not others?
It's pretty common for dogs to become more protective of one person in the household. Usually it's whoever they're most bonded to, often the person who feeds them, trains them, or provides comfort. It can also come down to perceived vulnerability. Some dogs instinctively protect people they sense as needing guarding, whether that's based on body language, tone of voice, or routines. In Ellie's case, she may just feel closer to your wife emotionally, or she may have learned that being protective earns praise or attention from her. Either way, it's rooted in bonding, not favoritism.
I think I know the answer to this, but why do dogs sometimes eat grass?
Dogs eat grass for a bunch of reasons, and most of them are completely normal. Some do it because they like the texture or taste, some do it when they have an upset stomach, and others just do it out of boredom. It's actually pretty common and usually harmless, especially if the grass isn't treated with chemicals. In some cases, it may help them induce vomiting or aid digestion, but that's not always the case. If your dog suddenly starts eating a ton of grass and then vomits frequently, it's worth checking in with a vet.
Are dogs ever trying to be a dick? I love Ellie, but I feel like sometimes she's deliberately being a dick.
As funny as it sometimes seems, dogs aren't really out to be jerks. What we interpret as being a dick is usually a form of communication or frustration. Maybe Ellie knocks something over or ignores a command not because she's being malicious, but because she's bored, overstimulated, or just trying to get a reaction. Dogs don't have a sense of revenge or spite the way humans do, but they are excellent at reading what gets attention. So if acting out gets a big response, they may keep doing it, even if it seems like attitude.
How do dogs perceive time? Do they know how long we've been gone?
Dogs don't perceive time the way we do, but they definitely notice the passage of time. They learn patterns like when you usually leave and return, and their internal rhythms or circadian cycles help them anticipate events. There's also some evidence that dogs can detect how long you've been gone by changes in scent. Your scent fades over time, and they may use that as a cue. So while they don't count minutes or hours, they can tell when something feels longer than usual. And yes, many dogs get visibly more excited the longer you've been away.
On a related note, Ellie seems to have an internal clock, and she'll often wake us up or come over to me at or near the top of the hour. Is that a coincidence?
That internal clock you're seeing in Ellie isn't a coincidence. It's real, though it's not quite like a human clock. Dogs are masters of routine, and they pick up on subtle environmental cues. The angle of light through a window, patterns in your behavior, or even traffic sounds. If you usually do something around the top of the hour, she's probably picking up on the rhythm and anticipating it. Some dogs even know when it's dinner time to the minute. It's not magic and it's not math. It's a kind of biological clock sharpened by habit and attention.
I'm sure it varies by breed, but how large a vocabulary do dogs actually have?
Most average dogs can learn about 150 to 200 words, especially if those words are consistent and tied to rewards. Super smart dogs like border collies have been known to understand up to 1,000 words, including names of individual toys. But it's not just about vocabulary size, it's about context. Dogs understand tone, body language, and routines better than grammar. So even if they don't grasp full sentences, they can piece together meaning from keywords, your energy, and familiar patterns. It's kind of like living with someone who doesn't speak your language but totally gets your vibe.
How close are we, scientifically and technologically, to developing a way of understanding what our dogs are thinking? Put another way, how close are we to being able to read dogs' minds?
We're closer than ever to understanding what dogs are thinking, but full-blown mind reading is still a long way off. Technologies like fMRI and EEG are helping scientists study canine brain activity in real time, and AI is starting to decode patterns in barking and body language. Some researchers are working on devices to interpret barks, growls, or even tail wags using machine learning. But right now, these tools are more about general interpretation than precise thoughts. So while we're making progress, most of our communication with dogs still comes down to careful observation and mutual trust.
Careful observation and mutual trust. What a nice note to end this episode on. Thanks again for all the great answers.
You're welcome, Taryn. My answers are only as good as your questions.
I do my best, ChatGPT. To you watching at home, thanks so much for tuning in to 20 Questions with ChatGPT. If you have any suggestions for future topics for this series, please drop a comment. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to check out some of the other videos. There are plenty to choose from. If you like what you see, please like, subscribe, and share, preferably with reckless abandon. Say goodnight, ChatGPT.
Good night, ChatGPT.
Good night.
What's the topic? Let me see. 20 questions for ChatGPT. 20 questions with ChatGPT. 20 questions for ChatGPT. 20 questions with ChatGPT. What's the topic? Let me see. Whoa.